Alright, welcome our final tribalists, Josh, John, and Bernard. Joining us is our jury, Carson, Ben, Brandon, Andrew, and Posky. Tonight, your three's fate are in the hands of the jury. They will be hearing you out and voting for the ultimate winner of Survivor Arkdale Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's the live audience?
All right, we will start out with opening comments from each of our finalists. Josh, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I came into this game.
Posse's on his phone. I'm not.
Josh, go on. Speak up, everyone, also for this whole thing.
I'm not voting for you more than that.
I came into this game believing I was going to be a threat, especially after the clones, but it didn't seem like that, especially in the merge.
Oh no.
So the main tactic for my game was to be open with everyone, relationship with everyone in the game. I wanted everyone to feel like they could come talk to me, feel like if they ever needed me for a plan, I'd be down for it. And later on I'll describe those plans that I've been approached with and my actions on them. You all were threats to me and my game. It's the only reason you guys are on the jury now. And that's my opening statement.
John?
I knew I was going into this game with a bunch of people that I didn't know, and I automatically had a huge disadvantage. And that was a really tough thing to go over because I know a lot of you guys have played the Messenger seasons and have played and just talk about the game a lot. At least the U of I people talk about the game a lot. So I was automatically at a disadvantage because I don't talk about the game because I didn't participate in those seasons. And you guys already know each other's play styles. So I had no idea how people would play. But I think I did a pretty decent job at reading how people play, and I realized that I could not play an aggressive game whatsoever with not knowing anybody here, especially knowing how some people play. Like it was just too risky to play an aggressive game. I had to play a non-aggressive game. I had to make friends and make genuine alliances that would last for the whole game. Otherwise, after the merge, after I meet half the people that I don't even know, it would be almost impossible for me to even last at all unless I made those strong alliances and those strong bonds.
All right. Bernard, close us off with your opening remark.
So I came in thinking I was a videographer. So I came in thinking I'd just have fun in this weekend, and I ended up finding out that Andrew Matias did not show up. I was definitely underprepared with very little thought of my luxury and survival item.
And you can bring a pillow.
And I didn't get my pillow. I didn't really have a blanket either. I used Josh's sleeping bag. But other than that, I think I knew what my strengths and weaknesses were from survival and Facebook. And I kind of used that to my advantage, and I think I kind of played a straightforward game from there.
All right, sounds good. Now we will open up the floor to the jury. You can each ask the contestants a question. Following this, we will go to a more open floor format, and we will talk about specific scenarios, and anyone can jump in at any time. But for now, we're going to start with questions. Carson, you want to take the floor, stand up, and start us off?
Yeah, okay, so first off,
Speak up a bit.
John, there's been a lot of talk that you haven't really done much this game. What plays have you made that the others haven't?
First of all, I don't think this was a big play game whatsoever. This game did not depend on big plays. This game depended on lasting. There wasn't much room for making a big play with the time frame because you'd be voted off immediately if I came off as a threat. So I couldn't make any big plays. And that was just a risk I couldn't take, especially with people I didn't know. And that's my main reason. for not making anything massive. But I think the plays that I made were very, very under the radar. It's forming solid bonds and solid alliances that could last me. Unfortunately, Musa left, and I was pretty sure that Musa, I could read Musa pretty well, and I knew if Musa stayed with, that tribe of 3 probably would have included Musa instead of Bernard. And my end game was going to the end with Musa and Andrew, and I thought that was a possible play, because a very possible way to go, because I would have a strong vote for 3, and we would just need 1 or 2 for every other vote, and we could get to the end that way. But the game changed completely when Musa left, and that made it really difficult. So I had to look for a solid 2. I know Andrew and I had a pretty solid alliance throughout, and it was just a matter of Andrew and I deciding to bring in Bernard.
Okay. So I guess Josh, what did you do? What did you do post merge, in terms of like plays and I guess just alliance forming?
The objective for my alliances wasn't really to have a core alliance. I already noticed by the very beginning of the game pre-merge that it didn't seem like I had any very close wingman. At first, I originally thought it'd be Brandon, but Brandon, especially after the Diego vote, it kind of, that in my mind that was a signal it wasn't going to probably be us the whole way. I still would want to work with Brandon to get myself further in the game, but it wasn't going to be super wingman. Andrew also was the second closest person I always had in the back of my mind for always sticking close with. Especially after that first challenge, I felt like the synergy was just good. So once post-merge came, it came down to who can I stick with to get me the furthest, okay? While the final 4 people that I ended up with was the last resort scenario. This was not the scenario I wanted. At final 5, Brandon's vote, 6. I gave Brandon I put myself on the line. I gave Brandon the opportunity. I told him, I'm putting Bernard's name down, which I did. I did write Bernard's name down. Everyone thought it was a meme, but like, I had to make it look like a meme so I looked stupid. But the truth was, I told Brandon, tell Posky to vote Bernard, you vote Bernard, it'll go split. We split it again, and then it's Rocks, RNG. He has better odds to live from Rocks than a guaranteed fate. He had better, than a guaranteed fate. Now, obviously, he didn't listen. He went for what he thought was a better option, trying to blindside me, which I'm not saying is expected, but I mean, I can see it happening, and it did happen. He also, I talked to Posky. He never actually went up to Posky and told him about this plan. So it's not really Posky's fault. Would he have gone? The reason I can't go up to Posky in that scenario is because if Posky comes up to anyone else, like any of the other 4, or 3, Bernard, any of those people, Bernard, Andrew, John, if he tells any one of them that I'm plotting to put down Bernard's name for like serious to go to Rocks, then they're just gonna be like, all right, well, fuck Josh, like why would we work with him? We're just gonna let's go with Brandon and just blindside Josh now. So I gave Brandon an opportunity which he did not take. So yeah, I wanted Brandon to stay for actually deep into the game with me because one, to be honest, I mean this may sound cocky, but to be honest, I thought I could beat him in a final tribal. 2, he's a big threat. As I told him the first day, we have to watch each other out for each other, otherwise, the goats, quote unquote, would pick us off. Now they referred to the goats this game as donkeys, but to be honest, I still don't think that. I was telling the truth. I think everyone played their own game. I think they played a little bit more of a low-key game, but nonetheless a game. They had a strategy, and the people we decided to vote off post-merge with them, I wasn't kidding. I was never the one to be like, all right, let's choose this person. It was a collective decision, but it was one. But at every opportunity, I did give them a choice. Gave Brandon the choice then. Posky, when he told me he was fucked, I handed him a clue to the hidden immunity idol that I had. I told him, this is your last shot. I did not give you, I pretty much told, like I came up to you, I don't know if I was the first to come up to you. I thought I was, but I may have not been. I came up to you, I'm like, they're voting you out. Do you actually have 2 idols? Play them. You didn't have 2 idols, you were lying to them. I can't really explain why you did that, but if you did have 2 idols there, it would have worked. to be honest, I was a little bit nervous going to final tribal with Bernard. Not now, but like earlier, because I mean, who wants to be against Bernard in final tribal? Just telling the truth. All right, I kind of went too deep into that, but
So I guess
I try to give options for everyone,
Okay.
as long as it got me further in the game.
Okay.
If it meant having to make a lie about Ben having an idol to weaken Brandon a bit, so be it.
I get same question to Bernard, since I already know what happened pre-merge pretty well. Like, did you make any like proactive like decisions post-merge to like have a strong alliance?
I think every decision I made after merge was planned out literally from the start. I knew that once we merged, the first merge where we like split between those two camps, I knew that I had to ditch Brandon and Ben, because there's no way that kind of dynamic was going to make it to final three and have me still win. I'd pretty much be the donkey. So I knew that right when we merged, I knew that I needed to join up with the Josh, John, and Andrew, and that's basically what we decided to do. And we played a straightforward game from there. And I think after that, I kind of got lucky in certain situations, but also did well in challenges that were very important, that like got me here. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Carson. Ben, would you like to take the stand now and ask the contestants some questions?
Yeah, I'll start with Josh. Okay, Josh, you framed me, and I heard a lot about that. And you know, I'm totally cool with, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta play your game. You gotta get to the end. However, you keep defending the goats, or donkey as Posky has deemed them. Explain to me your reasoning behind defending their. Explain to me what plays they've made where they're not goats or they're not donkeys.
I think they
What plays specifically have they made?
it's not specific plays. That's the point of a low-key game. You're not making plays. You're making relationships that can drive you deeper into the game.
But then
Bernard
lose in final tribal?
Huh?
But then lose in final tribal? Because you've obviously, just statistically, you've made the most plays compared to these two. Do you not agree?
I mean, I think I made plays.
More plays than them?
I think I've made more plays, but that's not to say that the relationships they made did not carry them deep into the game. I made myself available for whoever I can to get where I was, okay? I made myself available to them. I also made myself available to you guys. You guys thought that I actually may vote John on that one vote, that it was for you.
The time.
I always try to make myself seem available for anyone, but in reality, I'm going with whoever's going to take me to the end. Whatever route it seems the best for me. To be, as I said earlier, I did not want this to be the final four, them with Andrew and me, okay? Because you saw, like, I lose that challenge there, I'm screwed. Luckily, I mean, I got lucky and I got a second chance. But yes, you see, like, if I don't have that, I'm screwed. So in no world would I ever want that scenario. I wanted at least one of them out. That's why I gave Brandon the RNG chance to live. Okay, because there's no way we could get any numbers. We could have done the split. We could have gone to rocks. I know it kind of puts me on the line, but I'm kind of cool with that.
Okay. John, you tried to vote me out the first tribal, and then you came up to me and you said, hey, I hope we're good, man. I hope there's no hard feelings between that. And I was like totally cool with that. Coming as an outsider as well, where the only real relationship I had with anyone coming into this was Posky. Forgot what I was
That's all right.
Okay, I'll go back to you. Bernard, you chose Josh, obviously. You voted to keep Josh. I mean, that was a big play of the day. Explain your reasoning one more time why you chose Josh.
I came into this whole weekend wanting to have fun. After everyone, the playmaker or the non-donkeys started getting out, I felt that everyone was just kind of getting bored and not having fun. I thought it was kind of getting a little boring. I mean, like I said, I wanted content, and I kind of made that happen. But I also think.
You ain't getting my vote, man. The content, homie.
But I also think it's just it'd be interesting to see what would happen during the fire making challenge. And Josh was telling me that if he did lose, he would also back me up with everything I would be saying during tribal. So I knew that would be a good thing. And I just didn't think leaving here after this whole weekend, winning a very straightforward board game would have been very fun.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. Okay, John, I figured it out. Okay, yeah. So,
Fuck, did I just forget?
okay, no. Okay, so.
You want to write it down?
No, fuck, should I?
It's all right.
It's about you're both outside now.
How that affects your game. How that affects your game.
Okay, yeah. You tried vote me out first tribal, and then you apologized and said, I hope we're cool. Very next chance you had to vote me out, you voted me out. Why'd you vote me out?
I mean, first of all,
I'm totally open-minded. Just explain to me why.
So personally, I would rather have okay. So because everything was so close together, I knew I had to make strong friendships really quick, and I had to keep those just for 2 days. I thought Diego would be a really easy, manipulative person, like easy for me to manipulate. Versus you obviously a strong player, and I couldn't risk taking you into the merge. Yeah, it's the first vote, but the merge was regardless is gonna come that day. And those friendships that I make on that first early day, that matters completely. So I had to vote you, mainly because I saw you as a large threat, and on that very first day, the next morning, you immediately went up to Brandon and said, "Hey, y'all look for hidden immunity idols," like in front of everybody, and that was just a little bit too risky, a little bit too much of a risk for me to take, while you and Brandon go off and hunt for idols. So it kind of put a target on your back, and honestly, I was looking for strength, but also ability to go into the merge with a group of people that I can stay with. You had the strength, but I knew I could take Diego into the merge, and I thought he was strong enough to maintain on challenges while also able to bring into the merge.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Ben. Brandon, would you like to now ask the final three your questions?
Okay. John, why do you think you said a high risk aggressive play style wouldn't work? Why do you think that would be a worse option than the game you played?
I think it's mainly a bad option for me, mainly because I don't know anybody here, and I figured a lot of people would be playing a very aggressive game, because I know Blake, I know how you guys play Smash, I know how competitive you guys are. Just bring in another character to that aggressive game just wouldn't work, especially when everyone's doing that while everyone already knows each other's play styles. You guys can read each other super well. If I go in aggressive, you guys have no idea what I potentially might do. I would automatically be viewed as a threat. And on that first challenge, with the tire, I was doing pretty okay. I did pretty okay. I thought I did pretty well on challenges throughout. And I already had a strong challenge game. If I had a really aggressive really aggressive type of social game, I wouldn't have a chance. I'd be too much of a threat.
Okay, thank you. Josh, you mentioned the Diego vote having some impact on us. Not sure what you're talking about. If you'd like to explain.
I'm saying that the Diego vote was key for my game. It's like the building blocks of me becoming a person that people can go to make a vote. Not necessarily an alliance, but a vote for whatever the vote is. Okay, it was 4-3 to Diego Ben, okay? I know
5-3.
It was 5-3.
Well, I'm saying before the vote happened, but like this is still my vote. Okay, I can choose, okay?
I wasn't aware that you wanted.
I thought I
else.
told you.
I didn't organize the Diego vote, so I did.
Okay, but I'm saying I thought I told you we were all nervous that Ben looking up rails. He could have already had one. Ben was literally a threat since the very beginning. Like when you told me to vote Diego, that's what like I processed in my mind. Okay, like at least the way I perceived it, it didn't seem like you wanted to be as a super wingman, but like you want to work together with me, which I was fine with at the time, but like I mean I like to work with someone who I know I can work with to the end. That's why I had to go with this play style of I'm gonna have to work with whatever I got, with whatever alliance per vote off each time. So for Ben, it was like if I put my vote down for Ben, then it goes 4-4 split, and then now I got all the people in the Ben alliance like are gonna hate me. Okay, so I'm like I may as well just go with majority.
Yeah.
And take out Ben. I never wanted to lose trust with you, even after I thought you maybe don't want to work with me. I still wanted to work with you later on because I know that keeping big threats along with me on the side.
Mutual benefit.
Correct.
Okay, one more question. I didn't take you seriously when you talked about splitting the vote with Byrne. I still don't understand it. I thought I had a better chance of getting them on you than whatever stuff you were saying about going to Rocks, which I could not.
That was not a lie when I came up to you. I told you I'm voting Bernard. Tell Posky to vote Bernard. It seemed like you were desperate. You were searching for idols. I told you, tell Posky to vote Bernard. If I can't tell, I knew I couldn't tell him because if he goes off and tells my alliance, then you guys get a free blindside on me.
So why did you want to go to Rocks?
Because it's the RNG, and if in the off chance that Andrew Byrne or Andrew get out, okay, it makes it look like I'm tighter with you. And as I said, last scenario, I don't want to be with them. I don't want to be in the 4 with them where I'm going to have to do this challenge, a final immunity challenge to. You saw the tracker. I can't win any of these. I want to keep at least one of you guys in.
Okay.
And I gave you better odds. It's RNG. I don't understand why you.
Last question. This is more of a strategical question. I want to see how you answer this one. What do you think I could have done better in my game once we got to 8 or 7 people? What do you think my best route to make it to the end was, other than what I had, which was find the idol?
So right after Carson vote?
Musa.
Yeah, right after Musa left. 7 left.
Starting today.
I wasn't thinking for your guys' games. I was thinking for my own game.
I just want your thoughts. If you don't, it's fine.
I think you should have just gone with my RNG vote. I don't know. You were searching for idols that no one was able to find.
I was very close to finding one.
You tell Posky seemed like upset that you didn't tell him. Maybe he actually wasn't. It would have given you guys a chance. I'm not saying.
I would have gone for the Bernard, but he told me.
I put Burns' name down. Again, I wrote the XT as like a meme, but like to make it look like a meme, but it was a serious vote.
Well, I thought there was more of a chance that I could flip them than you actually going with
I mean,
that.
I understand that. It's a risk.
But then it's a revote and we're dead. It's probably not going to Rocks.
It's not a revote. It's a revote, and I put the same vote down. We go to Rocks.
Okay, thank you.
I wasn't changing that.
Can I answer that question?
What?
Can I answer that question?
Go ahead.
All right. Before the merge, you played a pretty neutral game. You were pretty neutral. You were just kind of there. It seemed like you were just waiting for merge. And once the merge came, that's when you really started to go a little hard in the social game. And that's when your social game got a little too aggressive for most people. And I think you didn't really bother even looking at the donkeys for any sort of actual information. You just kind of came to the donkeys and said, hey, you guys should do this, instead of, hey, what are you guys going to do? And you completely outed yourself as an outsider to the people that you gotta take advantage of. Like the whole idea behind it's basic. Like you gotta get the marginalized with you. You use the outsiders instead of just taking the outsider and say, hey, you should do this.
At that point, I had accepted I was an outsider, and basically everyone wanted me gone.
But you should have that's the thing. That's a tragic fault. You should have realized that you were probably had the highest chance of winning if you got to final tribal, and you should have realized that and actually try to adjust your game through that.
I understood that.
You can't look as much as a threat.
At that point, you're right. I could have done something earlier. That's what I'm saying.
You should have kept your Ben thing more low key. It didn't seem low key at all.
It wasn't low key because I gave him the immunity clue, which we were supposed to find, which would have advanced me, which I almost found. That was the plan. Okay, thank you guys.
You can see though how like that makes me feel, like when I thought we'd be tight.
I understood. I just went for the find the idol, and I almost had it. Bernard, Bernard, you were not on my original tribe, correct?
Yeah.
Could you take me through your tribe's emotional defeat after I defeated them time and time again? And head-to-head battle? And did you ever feel in danger as your tribe dwindled in numbers?
You kicked him in the face.
You should be live right now.
Yeah, we were sad. Right, Posse? I mean, we definitely won. I mean, everyone knew, like, literally during beer pong, everyone started, like, scrambling because we knew we were going to lose a lot of our challenges. And it ended up happening exactly what we thought.
That's why we were talking so early,
So,
because we knew we were
yeah.
gonna, like, we were so fucked.
But I also think we also, like, were demoralized during some of the challenges. Just showing up and seeing you. But, yeah. Emotionally, I think our tribe kind of got screwed over, but it kind of helped me at the end of the day. Because I think by us losing a lot more of our players and merging faster, do that, I was able to get to post-merge more easily and kind of find what I was supposed to do there. Because I don't think I was very good of at least from my messenger games, I don't think I was very good at socially or like trying to make connections that way. And just like kind of floating into the merge and hopefully finding my crack through to Final 3 would have been my best chance.
Thank you. Last quick question. Do you think you executed your plan properly post-merge? Did this work out
Yeah.
how you worked?
I think
I feel like you were like, out of all you three, I feel like this was most, like, you had the most impact on, like, this. Just felt like this is what you wanted.
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. In my confessional, I think I literally said exactly what happened, and except for Josh, but I just did it for the content. But yeah, I think also the challenges, like the ping pong challenge, was extremely important to win, because if Posse won that, it would have meant Posse would have possibly made Final 3 and ruined my chance of winning. But I think that's one of the most important challenges. But yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Andrew, would you like to stand up and give your questions for the contestants?
So, honestly, mine's kind of straightforward. What do you think? I guess this is a question to all of you, but what do you think was like one of your like favorite plays, or like one of the coolest things you did that, and maybe it was something you didn't do or chose not to do, but yeah.
I'm mad none of my sick plays got to happen. I wanted to go to Rocks. Watch any of the VODs. It would have been sick. You know it. And I don't think it would have changed my outcome. I think, if anything, it only helps you so I don't have to be screwed over in this final challenge. I want a big threat at Final Four. I don't want to be there stuck with like Posky. Like, they're just going to, like, I want to, Brandon. I wanted to go to Rocks, goddammit. Posky was talking about quitting all the time. Well, not quitting, but like, I want to go home and stuff.
Still want to go. I think everyone was doing that right now.
Yeah, for me, it was just post-merge. Post-merge, I want to take out the strongest players, and I think by you and I aligning, and because we didn't have Musa or another person from our tribe, we grabbed Bernard. We managed to take out all the strongest players. And regardless of whether you guys think I did nothing or not, we took you out, and you can't deny that. We took out the strongest players, and their social game wasn't strong enough. Their relationships weren't strong enough to stay in the game. But the people on the outside, the donkeys, were able to stay together the whole time and take out the strong players. And that was my strength of the game.
What was the question again? Just like, was there
Something that you thought was super cool
Easy.
that you did.
Easy. What are you talking about? Bro, what's A play you single one? That has to be cool. Just any play.
Pretty sick play to make me go to fucking Rocks with.
You know?
Alright, so Bernard, any plays?
I became friends with you.
How'd that go?
I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And it worked. And it worked.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Posky, finish us off. Stand up.
I'm not standing up.
You gotta stand up, Posky.
What if I don't stand up?
I'll stand you up.
Oh, right.
Alright, I'm not standing up. Oh my god.
Oh, challenge. Last challenge, John. Seems like
There's gotta be like battle music.
it seems like more effort than standing.
Alright, Josh, you were talking about how
you told Brandon because you wouldn't tell me because you were scared of me telling people like that you're gonna vote Bernard and like fucking over your game. Like, why are you not scared of Brandon telling people if you're scared of me telling people?
Because Brandon was close with me. I was not as close nearly with you. I was closest with Brandon and Andrew and Bernard. Those are like my three like really like in net. As I said though, I was never in a hardcore alliance. I was willing to do anything to get myself further, depending on who it was. But you always need to have someone who you could talk to the most. I didn't have a wingman, so I just had to get a group of people, a cluster. What was it? A cluster or whatever.
Fuck.
God, you know what I'm talking about. A cluster.
All right, I don't care anymore. I don't care. All right, I'm gonna vote. I'm voting for Josh. Your last question, if you want to change your mind, is who was of us of the five here? Who was the biggest threat going into, like, after Musa was voted out? The day started. Who do you perceive of us five to be the biggest threat and why? And that's my question to all three of you.
Ben, not Brandon, because Ben was the tool Brandon needed to get furthest in the game. And without Ben, Brandon wouldn't. Once Ben's gone, then Brandon's like pretty much gone. I did give Brandon a chance, but Brandon's pretty much gone. So Brandon needs Ben. I'm telling you, it was from that Diego vote when I knew that I had to play the game that I had to play, which was whoever will take me to the end. But you know, not like saying like as a goat, but like, you know, like whoever will take me to the end is in like what groups of people can I hop around to get myself to the end, and while still offering the enemies or people who are working with me opportunities to do something. But so be it.
I think you were the biggest threat, because if one of them falls, they're both going. They stuck together, and it just wasn't beneficial for either of them. There were two strong individual characters that could that were very dependent on each other, regardless of whether or not they believed that. But I thought you were a much bigger threat than Josh, because I thought Josh was just going to be the last person to go before final tribal. But you had a stronger social game. You had a stronger social game to make relationships with both those, to make relationships with not only your core group, but also people outside of your group. And I thought that was really dangerous. Josh, I don't think he did that much at all. Like he didn't really do that socially at all. He came to people and say, hey, what are you going to do? And he aligned himself with those people. But in the end, he was going to be voted off, and he was going to be gone until Bernard did something for the content. And like regardless of whether or not the game would have been boring, he would have been gone.
I think you're the biggest threat just because people like big moves for some reason.
Yeah.
And you probably made the most moves. But I think Brandon probably would have been the more scarier threat just because if we didn't vote him off, the one chance we got, he probably would have just made it for free. Yeah.
This game just didn't require
I'm voting
moves.
John now.
Wait, actually,
All right. Josh doesn't deserve to be here, and you've done nothing.